What is up, guys? Zach in here.
Rick in here.
And in today's video, we are going to show you how to comp properties, find ARV, the fastest and most efficient, best way for wholesaling real estate. The truth is, if you are spending too much time finding ARV and comps, you're doing it all wrong. Like, really, within 5 minutes, you should be able to figure out the ARV comps and all these things. What we want to do today is really show you exactly how to find comps, how to find ARV the correct way. And then exactly what we're going to do is actually show you how to comp properties too live in front of you, because that's what we do, guys. So if you're ready to go, we have comped tens of thousands of houses. We've been through a lot.
Too many.
Too many to count. And so we've been through a lot of this. And what we're going to do is kind of give you a systematic step-by-step guide on how to do this right now. So comping ARVs, your first question is going to be, what are comps, right? And comps are basically a definition. They are short for comparables. And the best way I explain comps is if you think of a signed Michael Jackson Thriller, vinyl from the 1980s. It's like, that's pretty cool, to the right person. But like, what is that thing worth? Now, who knows, right? I have no idea what it's worth. You have no idea what it's worth. But guess what we're going to do? We're going to go online and just search that search term, Michael Jackson signed Thriller vinyl. And then we're going to look on eBay. We're going to look at what they're selling for online and be like, okay, they're selling between $150 to $200. That's for the last 15 of those I'm seeing. It's because what we're doing is we're finding comparable ones, and then we're just finding the value from that. It's not complicated. It's pretty simple.
It's like a pawn shop. If you walk in a pawn shop, they bring in something strange. You see these TV shows, it's like, let me get an expert in here and let's see what they've sold for recently. So it's the same thing. We always think about wholesaling just like the pawn shop of real estate. So if a pawn shop has to comp, so do we. The key thing is we're going to teach today is we're not going to do it like a realtor does. We're not going to spend 5 hours comping one property. But for the most part, you've got to identify motivation first, and that's never going to change. So we're teaching the technique, the skill of comping. It does not replace the skill of building a relationship with your motivated seller. So remember that as we're shooting this video.
Yeah. So what are comps, right? Comparables. And so when we have a property that is under contract, guess what we're going to do? We're going to find comparable ones that look the same, right? And that's basically what we try to do here, And then kind of the next part is like, what is ARV? ARV stands for after repair value. Now, I have a very controversial take on ARV and what that means and what that is. But ARV is after repair value. So basically that is the value of the piece of property after it's repaired and after it looks nice, right? So my controversial opinion is, this is facts though, you look at ARV, after repair value, right? So it's what the property is worth after it's been repaired and the value of it when it looks all nice and sexy and great, right? Now, everyone tells me, what's ARV minus repairs, all these things. And really, if you take the AR out of ARV, it's just present value. And so your property right now, kind of have to do the math here, you're going to figure out my house is right now worth $100,000 on the market. Now, if I put 50 grand, it'll probably be worth 150. That's ARV. So you look at your house, say what repairs need to be done on the property, add the AR. So the value of the house, let's put some repairs. So after repairs, that's what the ARV is. The best definition for ARV really is, what is the house worth on its best day if you make it all look nice and sexy, right?
Bingo.
I'm not talking about inserting a pool. I'm talking about like newer roof, nice new floors, new kitchen, new bath, stuff like that, right? And nothing too crazy or insane, but
I think like the challenge here is, this is where a lot of people get it wrong. ARV simply, because it's confusing, like it's the highest and best use of that property if you think about it. And sometimes you have to put $50,000 into a property just to make it livable, like foundation issues, roof issues. And just because you put 50 grand in a property doesn't mean it's going to be better. So think of your ARV as the highest and best use. Don't ever confuse it with the as is value right now. And I find everybody defaults to the ARV. Some properties, they already in their highest and best use as a rental, and they're never going to get better. So make sure you define the ARV in the highest and best use, because some properties, when they're ugly and they're a bad location, nobody wants to buy it retail, and it's only going to be a rental. Don't try to think magically 50 grand is going to make it this special. This is where a lot of people have screwed up on the short-term rental markets. We're not talking about that today, though.
No. So ARV, so after repair value. So that's what we're trying to figure out. So if I have a property and we're going to show you this live today, right? I have a house. You give me a house, 123 Maple Avenue, right? This is what I do. This is what I tell our people who underwrite our deals. If you send a deal through sellmypaper.com, they usually go through this exact like thing, right? It's just step by step, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so easy, anyone can do it. It's so easy a guru can do it. Like, that's how easy this formula is. Like, I mean, even they can do it. And they haven't even done a wholesaling deal in 14 years. So let's talk about this, okay? Number one, construction type. When we look at the house, we gotta look at the construction type. 4 or 5 construction types on most houses we deal with, right? We're gonna have brick houses. We're gonna have wood-built houses. We're gonna have manufactured, mobile, A-frame type houses, concrete block. And then if you get like really, really old, right, there are some weird, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like they're like plastered, kind of clay, not clay, but like,
You don't deal with a lot of those.
they're kind of those like weird, really weird offset shoot style. Like most of your house are gonna be those 5, right? I mean, there's some others, but like
For the most.
for the most part, they're gonna be like that, right? The Northeast, mostly wood. Southeast is gonna be wood frame, and then some concrete block, kind of where the hurricanes are. Out west, mostly, I would say a lot of them are concrete block actually, but there are some stick-built houses there. Same thing for the Northwest. So like wherever you're out in the country, the construction types are pretty much similar. But if you have a nice sturdy brick built home, don't compare that to a manufactured home. It's a different house.
Yeah.
Like it's not comparable. Okay, it's like having a Whitney Houston signed vinyl and a Michael Jackson. Like, they're different people. Okay, those aren't comparable. All right, you just got to figure that out too. It's same thing like a signed football. A signed football from Tom Brady is going to be a lot different than a signed football from Josh Allen. They're different football players, right?
Yeah, and most of these are, like, as we say, all real estate is local.
Mm-hmm.
Usually in a local area, there's a traditional way, and that's what you'll find in that area. So if you have all wood frame homes up in like the Northeast and someone built this ginormous like concrete home, it doesn't always mean it's going to be the comparable to the other. So just look in the area and see what the predominant type is, and that usually helps you out a lot.
I agree. And so the next one is bed and baths. When we have these type of properties, what we're going to do is look through the bed and bath. So if I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, look for other 3-bedroom, 2-baths. If I have a 2-1, do another 2-1. 2-2, you can do it. So like when it gets in the weird ones, like I get properties that are like I had one that was like a 3-3. I'm just going to compare it to a 3-2. Like, I know yap all you want to me, but like, you have to do the closest one. Most houses are 2-1s, 2-2s, 3-1s, and 3-2s. And then you get in the 4-3s, the 5-3s, 5-4s, and then you just go up from there. But
unless
like,
you go certain areas, it's like a 5-1. I'm like, show me.
Yeah,
I want to see a
5-1.
5-1.
And so let's use that example really quick. When we're in Florida here, so there's a lot of different cultures that come here. There's a lot of immigrant families that will move in, and one person buys a house, and what they do is decide to bring their whole family in, which is fine.
Mhm.
But they buy a 2-1, and what they do is they got a buddy who's in construction, and they're kind of sick of everyone. And so what they get the buddy to do is just create walls. You can do it technically.
It's like a rat maze.
And they basically create 3 extra bedrooms, unpermitted, obviously, and it's theoretically a 5-1, right?
Convert the garage, everything.
And so you got to look at, it's really a 2-1 that got converted into a 5. And so what do I do here? It's like, oh, do I compare it to other 5 bedrooms? No, that's stupid.
No.
Okay, what you're gonna do is, when in doubt, go off of square footage. And I'll tell everyone this: square footage is going to be king. And I see a lot of wholesalers that they really like try to go, oh, but this one's just as nice as mine. Oh, well, that one's 2,000 square feet. So a lot of people get confused here in comping that, yeah, it's a way nicer house, but it's 1,500 square feet, and this nastier house is 2,000 square feet. The 2,000 square foot house is going to win.
Yeah.
All day, every day. Square footage is king here because you can always change condition. You can't really change square feet. So you can change bed and baths, but you can't So if you have a house that's 1,200 square feet and every other one's a 2-1 and yours is a 5-1, don't be like, oh, I did my calculations and my house is worth way more than any other 2. No, it's square feet. Go from there. I've seen a lot of wholesalers, they get in trouble for that, right?
A couple things on first beds. If you see a disproportionate amount, like 5 bedrooms, 1 bath, it's screaming you can only comp it as an income property. When it comes to baths, a lot of times you guys, 1 bath, 2 bath, what about 2.5? Half a bath indicates it's just a toilet, no shower, no tub. So just a little clarification when you see it. I didn't realize this when I first started out. I had no idea what a half bath was. So when you see 2.5, it means it should mean toilet only.
Yeah, you get the half. I
And
guess so.
and there's some places where it kind of makes sense because not everybody, like if you have a guest place, you have people over, they're not typically taking a shower. So if you're having a get together, that's where half bath comes in. So you're going to see it more in condos and townhomes than you're going to see in regular houses.
I agree. But remember, guys, square footage is king. Square feet. It's all about square feet. Not all about it, but it's going to be the most important one. All right. And when I look at these type of properties that we're dealing with, if it's 2,000 square feet, just look at other 2,000 square feet, roughly what they're selling for. You got to remember, comps and ARV, it's a quick guesstimate. All right. Like you're not going to be perfect here. Do not be doing this. Most of my stuff's a range too. Like when I'm looking at a property, okay, it'd probably sell between like if you're like in Flip Alert Plus or whatever, and I get sent properties every single day. Like, what do you think this thing's worth? Everyone gets mad at me at first because they're not used to how I do it. I'm just like, I mean, ARV's around 230, 245 with the repairs. I would say just get this thing locked up like 175 or below.
Yeah.
And people get really like, when I talk to acquisitions managers and a lot of these things, like especially when I'm looking at the podium or whatever, I'm like, get this thing under 175. It's like, wait, what? I'm stupid simple with my wholesaling. But the reason is because if you lock it up for 150, I know you'll probably make 15, 20 grand.
That's the idea.
And so the point is just get under 130. Because when I go in the appointment, I'm not talking about square feet or construction type. And then we give a low ball. So 150, it's low ball around 110. See what happens. And then just know I can't go above 150.
So make a decision. Do you want to be a realtor or do you want to be a wholesaler?
Exactly.
Realtors spend all their times on comps. Wholesalers spend their time finding distressed properties and finding solutions to make it work. Here's a little hint. If you have to pull a calculator to figure out your offer, you're most likely paying too much. 21 years experience, I'm telling you, every time I whipped out a calculator, that's when I got in a little bit of trouble. I'm talking specifically on single family homes. If you have to use a calculator, it means your margins are way too tight and you're trying to make it work and you're trying to force the deal. Whereas if he says just offer him 75, even if you pay 90 and it's worth 150, then you know you're going to make money. It's just a question of how much.
I agree. So square feet is king, guys. And so next year, condition, obviously, like a really nasty beat up house. So there's outliers with your comps when you do them. There's going to be houses that are like, whoa, like really disgusting. Ones with foundation issues that get sold for super, super low. And there's other houses that sell for super, super high. That's an insane condition, right? You got to look out condition here. And then probably the other thing I like talking about is like year built. If the property is built, I like about 10-year gap. And what I mean by that is make sure it's not new construction, but like if the house was built in 2005, I like to go from 1995 houses to 2015. Just as it's a rough range. It's usually for older houses because those are usually the houses I deal with from the 80s, 90s. Older's not 90s, but I'm talking about like 60s, 70s, 80s. Like if it was built in 1964, I'm going to do 1954 to 1984. I'm not, sorry, 1974 to 1954. I don't, because until you get in 2002, it just, there's a difference. It's not a crazy one, but you just got to be careful with that. That's honestly what I found for running comps here. Now, some really important things here. All right. You have to avoid, and this is my biggest problem with people with comping, avoid a positive mindset with your comps and have a pessimistic or just kind of hoping for the worst mindset. And I know it seems really weird what I'm saying.
It's true.
But a lot of you wholesalers you want the property to be worth more because you locked it up for 120. And then you start trying to grasp at straws that aren't there. And what I mean by that is, I locked this thing up for 120. I thought the ARV was 150, and I'm running the numbers now, and I'm like, oh wow, this house sold for 400 grand on the street. Wow, that's you know what? I think I get 400 for this. Yeah. And like you have this positive mindset, and I'm not going to have a pessimistic mindset. Let's change that. I think you need to have a fact mindset. And what that means is a lot of you guys are wanting the property to be worth more. I know it. And you have a tight deal and you're trying to find some evidence to show it's worth more. And the only evidence is the free market, right? And the problem is cash buyers deal with fact. They don't care that the 4.2 with a pool sold for 400. It's like, well, you don't have a pool and that thing was built in 2022 and yours was built in 1974. It's just like a lot of guys are trying to grasp straws and try to, you see the good, but you avoid the bad. And I'm not saying it's you specifically, but so many wholesalers do this. So many wholesalers, they just only look at the good and they don't look at the bad. It's like a really bad girlfriend. You look at the looks. That's all you care about. And then the bad stuff you don't even look at. And then you end up in a world of hurt.
So
You got to look at the whole picture.
Here's the truth of doing wholesaling for 20 plus years. The more time you spend comping means you're searching it. Have you ever had that friend that asks you a question and go, "Hey, Rick, what do you think of this business idea?" And you go, "It sucks. It's terrible." Like, and you know what they do? Instead of taking that information, they go to the next one. "Hey, what do you think of this business idea?" And no matter how many people do it, they're searching for someone to validate what they did. And they'll ask as many people as they possibly can until it matches their expectations. And there's a term for it. I'm not going to use it on air, but that you guys are doing the same thing in wholesaling. You're going to keep hunting. You're going to go to Zillow, Redfin, Trulia, until you find a comp. Go, aha! I've got it. It's a deal. You can't. Your first glance at it, as painful as it be, just be honest with yourself. I overpaid for the damn thing, and I got to fix it. But some of you guys go deep in the hole and you want to know why you struggle in the beginning. You're better off doing this way. So here's the clue. If you're spending a lot of time comping, you overpaid for the property. So if we lock it up a little, I like to use conservative values, and the comp's higher, guess what? It's a windfall for you. You did excellent. But I'd rather you not tie up in the crappy deals and waste all your time. The more time you comp, the more you overpaid for a property.
I'm on facts all the time. Like someone came up to me for an idea. I don't know if they're trying to be an investor or not, but like they're like, I have this idea for this bar that you bring your dog to. It's like a dog park with a bar.
I like that.
And I was like, okay, well, it's going to cost you $3 million up front. You got to do all these things, and you got dogs running around with alcohol. Okay, great. I asked one question. I'm like, is there any local ones within an hour and a half that is actually becoming successful?
Yeah.
They're like, no. And I'm like, so do you think there's a reason why not? And the truth is, it's like, if you want to open up a pizza shop, there's a lot of good pizza shops that do well. And so there's saturation.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is you might want to get something that's not saturated, but maybe there's no demand for it, right? It's like trying to wholesale a house with there's only 500 people living in it. Yeah, there's no competition, but no one's going to want to be in there. And so it's like, I only go off of facts. And so the same thing happens in wholesaling. Okay, you think your house is worth 150? Well, show me other similar houses that have sold for 150. Well, I think it will. That ain't going to cut it. That ain't gonna, 114 miles away. So that ain't gonna cut it, man. And so like a lot of people like they try the best and they try to look for the best. And I'm always the guy that's like, I think it's worth less. Like I'm always on the it's worth less side. And the reason is I have deals, and I swear to you, this is the funniest thing ever. And it's always a good thing where the property, a cash buyer thinks the thing's worth 200. And I do my numbers and I'm always on the pessimistic side. I'm always in the this thing is, and I think this thing's worth, it's on a dime worth 115, and I offer 80, and I lock it up for 100, and I'm like, all right, I'll make a nice 20 grand there, and then go to you, and you're like, Zach, this thing's worth 200. I'm like, what do you mean?
And
then we make like 80, 90 grand, and I'm like, oh, I thought it was worth 120. I know that one sold for 220, but like, I just didn't know 100%. And guess what? That mindset has always pushed me, because I was so stupid, to just think it was worth 120, because I'm always have that facts mindset of like, if it's not 100, I'm just going to go lower. And then I go for a crazy low offer. And the thing is, when I offered like 90, I'm like, I know I'm only making 30. Like, it's not a big deal for me.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'm completely confident at 90. Like, I'm not, the problem is when you think it's worth 200 and you offer 90, it's like, would you take 90? I was like, would you take, like, I thought it was a tight deal. So I was offering it like I was barely making any money.
So think about this. If you're beginning, it's like a golf game. Like, I'm a terrible golfer. I enjoy it, but I'm terrible at it. I have bad habits, and it's hard to correct old habits, especially if you don't want to. That's me, because I enjoy golfing. I don't love golfing. Now, when Zach started out wholesaling, I said, Zach, just get the absolute lowest price, go for no. That's all he knew. That's all I taught him, and it's completely ingrained into him. So if you're starting out, if you will adapt our philosophy of getting the lowest price using the go for no, all the methods we teach at freewholesaling.com, it's amazing. It is more challenging when you guys have had a couple of years out there and you've used this other methodology. Use the way we do it, guys, especially if you're just starting out. It is wonderful.
Yeah. So avoid that positive mindset, guys. Now, if we want to learn some free tools, I would say Redfin, Realtor.com, Zillow.com, they'll give you the solds really well. Now, there are some non-disclosure states, and I do want to, let's go do it in order here. And so there are some non-disclosure states. Let's copy them really quick. So we got them all here for you. So there are states that unfortunately with the free tools ain't going to work. These are non-disclosure states right here. And so what non-disclosure states mean is these are states that do not show their sold prices. So you can't find comparables that sold. Kind of crazy to me, but they don't. And so what you have to do is get MLS access, which usually charges a lot of money. Then you're gonna have to be a broke realtor, brokator, whatever you want to call them. But like that's what you're gonna have to do, right? And so unfortunately, you kind of get stuck there. Now, the good reason is you can use like a paid tool software that actually has access to the MLS sold comps. These are going to be, my favorite ones are going to be listrei.com, zacdata.com, and dmzac.com. Now, if we're talking about comping specifically, zacdata.com I have found is the best comping, hands down. Now, there's more than that though, right? There's quality lists, it's going to be Driving for Dollars app, skip tracing, and there's a lot here. Like you could choose from the plethora of all of them. They will all have the same sold comp data. It's just, I think zacdata.com is a little easier because of the way that I comp like a crazy person. What I mean by that is if I have a 3-2 and then the one down the street, like same street 2 weeks ago sold, and it's the same exact house, except that one had a pool, I will literally use that as a comp and just take out the cost of the pool because it's literally on the same street. It's the same type of house, same thing. I will do that. Now I'm a little crazy, but I have personally found that like location's super important. And so if a house sold on the same street, and yes, it's a little nicer, I'm gonna discount it. Same thing. I've had deals, and you'll find this all the time, where the neighbor's house is like, so they're both 3-2s, 1,000 square feet, same construction, same builder, except that house sold on the MLS 2 years ago. Now this is controversial. I will probably take a discount or in a subtractor, see the difference between prices 2 years ago to now, and I'll use that as a comp. Now, I know you're gonna scream at me for that, but it's some of the best comps you can. And then hands down, the best comp is what the property sold on the MLS for the past 5 years. Hands down, all day, every day. And so if your house sold for 185 on the MLS 3 years ago, and there's no new construction, nothing there, you have a rough guesstimate. It could be up to 195. It could be down to 175, but you have a general ARV range because that's what is literally on the market.
Yeah, and a lot of people got spoiled over the last 3 to 4 years because they were insane appreciations. Guys, that's not the norm. A lot of people are making projections every year. I'm going to 30, 40 grand more. No, that's not the norm in real estate. It's going to go up, but please don't take the last 3 years and go, okay, that's how it's going to go for the next 20 years. I don't think it's a realistic approach, and it's going to hurt a lot of people.
I agree. The problem is you just gotta be guessing on, not guessing, but a very good estimate on this. You can't be perfect on your comp. I tell everyone go on a shot clock, 2 or 3 minutes at most for ARVs. Just
and one of the easiest techniques is throw out the high one and throw out the low one and just take the average if you have 4 or 5 comps. It's not always possible.
Yeah, that's basically what we do. So we find a bunch of properties. This 200,000. This sold for 150 grand. Divide the sold price by square footage, and you get a price per square foot. Get the average, and then go from there. Don't tell Rick, but you need a calculator for that.
But sometimes you guys just cherry pick the top one, ignore all the other ones. If you do that, you're just going to be disappointed at the end of the day. So if you're going to pick one, make sure you pick the low one, the high one, get rid of them, and then find the middle.
You're good to go. And so like I can give you more rules on ARV and comps and all these things.
But like 10 hours.
The truth is, the simpler you make it, the better. And the point is, find your ARV, find your offer price, but just offer as low as you can, and doing the right offering strategy to be good at. That's why people watch us. They're doing 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, $100,000 plus deals. And why we do it? Because we don't focus on ARV comps right now. We do focus on it at our company, but we're not like stupid insane about it, right? We take more time with the seller and trying to get the lowest price possible on it. And so just stop. My piece of advice for everyone: stop acting like a realtor. You're not a realtor. You're not listing the house. You're just getting a rough range and then offering really low in there.
That's not an insult. Like a realtor is a realtor, top dollar. We're very different. We're looking for motivated sellers to help them out in their situation. The realtors are looking to sell properties for retail at top dollar. That's it. So don't be one.
I agree. And so what we're going to do now is, if you have a property and you want us to do some live comping on it, comment below and I'll look at the house and we'll give you some quick comps real quick. and we'll do a freeway, and we'll do a paid way if you want. You let us know, and we'll comp your property right now, so you know exactly how I kind of come up in my head.
Wholesale comping. You guys are mixing this up with like realtor comping.
Yeah,
because we would need about 2 weeks to get you the exact answer.
I agree.
It's true.
Drives me crazy. And so let's see what we got. See here. And then also got some good questions here. But yeah, let's wait and see. Also, FYI, for you guys that do Zillow for sale by owners, do not be this guy that's like, okay, the Zillow Fizbo's been listed for 200 days. It's not been sold. And let's see here. It's listed for 150, but I think the ARV is really 300. There's a secret. It's not. The MLS is the best comp. If the market has chosen it's not worth 200, it's not worth 200. Okay. So let's get some good ones here. I got to be careful. Our YouTube live on Tuesday actually got taken down. So I am going to re-upload that on Saturday the correct way. But YouTube did take it down. So I'm not going to mention addresses actually. Actually, I will. This one's in Bethany, Oklahoma. All right. So I'm going to pop that up. If this live gets taken down, I swear I'm going to go crazy. So I'm going to be actually careful here. So let's search this up and break it all down. So where is it? Here we go. 222116.
Should play like that Jeopardy theme song behind it.
No, I'll be good. Okay, so we got, is it North? All right, cool. Oh, Avenue. Nice. All right, let's go to my favorite website in the world. Okay. All right, here we go.
Are we allowed to share this?
We'll see.
It's so painful what you can't show.
Oh, it's insane to me.
Come over to Flip with Rick Plus. We don't have to deal with this.
Oh, I agree. All right. So, So let's see if YouTube. So, is this 2116? Is this the right one? Let me see here. 2116. Okay. So I'm just being honest with you. Like looking at this deal. What do you think I'm going to say? You look at this. What do you think, looking at this, I'm going to say?
I don't even know what I'm looking at yet. I just see the previous sold price.
When was it sold?
Is there a date on that? It was just sold.
November 14th.
Yeah, it's this isn't.
So it's like less than a year. So what do you think I'm going to do? It sold for 135.
There's your comp.
So like the comp is the house.
Unless, is it gutted or anything? Did he give you any additional information?
Zero info.
So guys, if there's something that drastically affects the value, you got to put it in the comment with the property.
And so just looking at this thing here.
Remember, data doesn't lie to you. It's
guessing 208, but the thing sold for 135.
We have no idea, but
so it got listed and got sold pretty quick. So maybe it's worth a little more possibly, but like that's gonna be your best one.
Yeah.
Hate to say it, like it's pretty simple. All right, we're gonna another one in Indiana.
But here's a problem: unless you have like intimate knowledge on something going on the property, if you buy a property that's been traded definitely 6 months or less, it's really hard to make a wholesale deal. Someone really had to screw up real bad. And this accents more than ever, you've got to make sure you're dealing with motivated sellers or it doesn't make sense.
Here's the thing, it's gutted. Was it gutted when it sold or did it get bought and gutted? Now, here's the thing. If that property got bought for 135 and then you gutted it, it's probably worth less. Unless it was like a hoarder's type, right?
Well, so we need to just get more clarification when you guys put it in here.
Let's use this as an example. They bought the house.
Yeah.
Now it's gutted.
Maybe
it sold and then it got gutted. Is it worth less when it got gutted? I would say yes.
Well, it depends. That
if they got rid of all the kitchen, even if it was a bad kitchen, if they got rid of that, it's worth less.
Could have been a leak. Could have just been outdated. Like there's more.
So
just a little
they
more
bought
information.
it and they gutted it.
Who gutted it?
The person that bought it. Let's see if we get pictures.
So here's my next rule. When you buy a piece of real estate and it's gutted, unless it's coming from like a true wholesaler, ask yourself, why would you buy a property, gut it, and not finish it?
Or they didn't have the money.
Yeah. Or it could be a bigger underlying problem too. And that problem is going to become your problem. These like this, when you see too many red flags, like just don't waste your time. So especially if you're brand new, because you
said it was a hoarder's house.
Yeah. And those are the worst. They usually have electrical problems. They have plumbing problems. It just never stops. So if I'm brand new, I would just steer clear even on this property. I wouldn't even spend time doing it because it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make logical sense. Everything's going on and it's traded within less than 6 months. And if you don't have the skill set to understand it, you could get in trouble real quick. And based on the numbers, figuring it out, what? Oh Lord, is that it or that's another
the house? They gutted it. This was a year ago though.
Yeah, I mean, you can just pick through the garbage. Like I could do an entire 2-hour show on that one.
So I would say here. I mean, honestly though, like
yeah, I mean that's pretty bad.
I mean, but like it's sold. So I would say. So this is my personal opinion. If the house, even if it was a hoarder's house, Still, I know it's nasty. So Hoarder's House has 3 different levels, in my opinion. This is really bad and messy. 2, there's rats and mold and poop and feces.
I've heard them in the walls there.
And then there is I can't breathe and I instantly throw
Just
up.
knock it down.
So those are the 3. Now, what I'll tell you is, let's do a theoretical in this house. Let's say it's the average Hoarder's house. It's nasty. There's rats. There's number 2 going on everywhere in the house. It's still worth more to have the dirty, nasty kitchen and toilet and in place and drywall than it is to tear it all up and just have nothing there.
I've seen hoarder house cost $50,000 just to get them back to normal. Get the drywall out, the electrical, all the rats infestations, and get the moisture out of the house. I'm not even talking about the cosmetics. I do not like hoarder's house. And then whenever we deal with them, we literally sell them as fast as we humanly can. I don't want anything to do with them. They will never work out wholesale, and they are a nightmare to rehab. I sold one. It took the guy over 2 years to rehab an 1,800 square foot house.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say no on that one. Let's see here. We got one in Decatur, Alabama. All right, let's do this one.
You guys can comp along with us. Remember, I'm not a realtor, so if you're gonna keep me and Zach to realtor standards, I'm gonna massively disappoint you because we're comping for wholesaling. We're just trying to see if the deal is worth moving forward. But before I even do this, if I go on an appointment, I would take a look at it. I'm going to find out if there's motivation. I just don't want to waste my time doing this.
Well, we're just strictly talking about the comping here. So we got this house right here. They said it looks vacant. Knocked over mailbox, garage is broken. Okay.
I love the knocked over mailbox.
It seems like a motivated property here. Now, we have a 0 bed, 0 1 bath. It looks like it's 1215. If we have no info here, we're going to go after what is king, square footage, right? So this is a 1215 square feet house. Now, using other ones. And so roughly, this is just me roughly looking. Now, Zillow has some cool tools. Looking at the map here, what's number 3? The one's like right on the same street, right? 3 is going to be Briar Avenue, 1407 square feet. Okay, 92 a square foot, roughly, right? Now, we got this one sold for 8 months ago for 147 a square foot, right? 82 a square foot, 78 a square foot, 105. I would say 92 is probably the best guesstimate range on there. Now, I got to look at conditions, but I'm doing this in under a minute. Like if I had to go really quick, I would just say, give it 95 to be nice.
1215.
That's showing 115. Seems a little low. I got to look at the condition of the house. And so it got rented out for $2,000 a month. That's actually pretty good. So let's look at some comping here. Let's actually put this property on like PropStream.
Remember, guys, when you use comping tools, especially a paid software, you still got to use your brain in it. It's still a computer and it's giving you the tools. And then I like to go in, if I'm very close on the numbers, I'm going to go in and just pick the correct comps. And I'm not going to cherry pick the highs. And I'm not going to just make a brutal, pick the lowest one. I'm going to go with the most conservative. Now, I always stay on the low side because I can't get hurt doing that. If you're teetering towards the high side, you got to understand, do you want to feel good in the short term or do you want to be a successful wholesaler? Because getting a signed contract does not guarantee you make money. Getting a contract at the go for no price, we'll get it.
So they use comping tools, right? Oh, look, same street, 507.
There you go.
Literally next door. Sold for $90,000. That's not good at all. That was 1,300 square feet.
That would be your low.
See, that one says it didn't sell. That's crazy to me on Zillow. But this one says based off of what is this based off of the public records? Okay. We got another one for 190. That was the one I was talking about. MLS for 190. So that was 130 a square foot. I mean, if you're at 130 a square foot on this one, I'm going to pop a calculator out. Don't be mad at me. 130 times that 1215 puts that 158 range. Really got to see the condition of these.
And it always comes down to the condition of the interior, guys. And that's why you want to start low. And then if you had to increase your price, it's a much easier conversation. If you offer too much, it's a painful conversation.
So this example right here, this one sold for, it says 606 and it's 1,000 square feet. That's an outlier. I'm going to avoid that. Some of these are sold as packages. Now, this one's pretty good too. This is an MLS 199, 1,300, one for 152. It's a nice looking house right there. Let's see if the MLS details are on here. No MLS details, obviously. So what I like doing is you can do this. So this is one thing. Batch is the same one too. So you can use any of these softwares for them. But like I can just add one. So this one's very similar. I'm going to click that one. I'm going to click this one because it was close. Mine was built in 1965. There's not really any 1965 ones. So that's going to be an issue. Now, looking at any similar ones, this is the most similar one for 199. We're going to add that one in there as an average. And then this one, MLS sold. This is in the 80s. We're going to add that one in. And we're roughly 120 a square foot. Let's do that. All right. Sounds good. So 120 a square foot for our comp.
I like the 90.
What do you mean 90? A square foot?
Yeah, but
it's ARV. So I'd say 145, 150 most likely. I'm always on the conservative side on these, but I've seen some 90K comps. And so it jumping from 120 to 175 estimated value, I don't really believe that, but hey, who knows? And it got publicly sold for $2,000 on REO. I'm assuming it's a little worse than we can think. So that's roughly ARV comps on there. But yeah, you can use any paid software on that. ListRE.com is great. DMZack.com is great. Zack Data, they're all going to be good there. So yeah, let's see what other questions we got here from everyone. But yeah, comping, it's not as complicated as you would think. I think everyone really wants to make it a crazy thing. It's really not. Now, if you do want to learn comping the right way, we also have millions of live examples at freewholesaling.com, our free wholesaling course. We show how to wholesale real estate step by step, absolutely for free.